Welcome, guys. Episode 34. What do you think of my green screen stuff? I mean, it's amazing. I've got a new PC. I've got a new streaming schedule. I'm so happy. I moved to a new apartment. Took me some time to set up my entire computer, build it myself, which is totally new to me, which was really exciting. And well, a lot of work that came in between. So I haven't been flying on flight sim for 2 months or so. I was really looking forward to today, my first stream, my first flight in a couple of months. So we're currently here at Palm Springs International Airport, my home airport. Hi, game player, welcome. Well, this is my home airport because it was the region, the area where I first contacted PilotEdge, radio contacted a controller for the very first time. So to me, this is a special place, so that's why I started here. Although in my previous episode, that couple of months ago, I was at Ontario, I believe, practicing for my V2 rating, which I'm gonna pass soon. But first today, I will do some practice flying as a new beginning of my training, dusting off my flight skills to see where I'm at, because after a couple of months of not flying, only reading a lot of stuff about computers and, well, a lot of aviation, but not really doing the flight skill training, well, kind of leaves me wondering how well I can fly a traffic pattern and do slow flight and that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm aiming to do today. Hey, Dad. Yeah, it's an awesome view, isn't it? I mean, this green screen stuff is so cool. Gives a sense of immersion somehow. But the greatest thing is the computer. Man, it's so fast, so damn fast. I mean, with almost max settings here at Palm Springs, and I've got ORBX, the global vector, OpenLC of North America, the Palm Springs area, Active SkyNext, A2A. I've got about 90 frames or so per second, which is great. Hey KG, welcome aboard. So that is really cool, and even now while I'm streaming, I still get my super frames per second. So that's so cool, guys. Really, it's awesome. Anyway, I've also built a new intro movie, just a short one, also as part of this new beginning. So let's roll it and let's start this episode 34.
Welcome to the Uncertified Pilot. I'm Tim, and this is my flight simulator.
Charlie Tango India, Mike Victor, right taxi back into the round via Echo. Remain on this frequency. Have a great day.
Okay, so let me first bring up my iPad because I've got some notes. New PC, that's first. Green screen. It's so cool. I mean, it's so basic. I mean, it's awesome what this software can do. Hey, game player, what are we flying today? Well, we're going to just fly some traffic patterns here on Palm Springs on PilotEdge and do some basic flying again. Just get my hands on the yoke and get a feel of the Cessna. That brings me to my third point here, back to prepared. So in my previous slides, I was exploring X-Plane, which I pretty much liked, really. Back in the time when I started the Uncertified Pilot project, I was already considering using X-Plane, but it was not looking that well graphically, but also the realism, the flying realism wasn't that great, really. There wasn't really a good Cessna-like airplane that I could use to use for my training. But then again, some weeks later, some couple of months later, while I was already flying on Prepared on the channel, as you know, I bumped into the Airfoil Lab Cessna, which was kind of like A2A-like. I also came across some tools in which you can download photorealistic scenery, so the scenery from Google or from Bing or from other services, and you can map onto your terrain, which look really nice. Honestly, even better than ORBX's scenery. And also just X-Plane is a very stable simulator somehow. It's 64-bit also. It doesn't really matter that much to me, really. But it is smoother. It seems more stable. I also like the whole installation part of X-Plane. You just copy and paste a folder and that's it. It's installed. It's kind of Mac-like almost. View camera angles, EZDOK is already built into X-Plane. The same kind of stuff is default in X-Plane. And there's a lot of stuff that I really like about X-Plane more than Prepared. But in terms of flight realism, even with third-party aircraft, for example, comparing the Airfall Lab Cessna with the A2A simulations, the Cessna, Prepared is in a totally different league, or A2A simulations is in a league of its own. It's such a different experience, such a more realistic experience to fly an airplane on A2A rather than on X-Plane. Even comparing third-party airplanes. In terms from engine management, what the mixture does, and the heating, the engine behavior, but also stalls and that stuff. It is an entirely different experience on Prepared and with A2A simulations is aircraft. And that really struck me when I was doing a real flight in the real world with the Cessna 172 in the Netherlands, where it immediately struck what the difference was. So even though X-Plane looks nice and looks more realistic, especially at night, I mean, well, you've seen those episodes probably, how great X-Plane looks by night. If you are not familiar with my previous episodes, go to my YouTube channel and have a look. The previous 4 or 5 episodes on X-Plane. They're so pretty. But then again, what my training is about is flight training, right? So it's about handling the aircraft and doing my navigation, that kind of stuff. So currently I'm more in my PPL kind of phase of training, getting my virtual private pilot license, using PilotEdge and the training ratings. And so that to me, brought me to the conclusion to say, well, hey, I need to go back to Prepared, fly A2A simulations, because that makes me more prepared for real world flying. So that's why I jumped back to Prepared, and I'm so glad now that I bought the Cessna 172. I was flying the 182 in my first episodes, right? Because I had the Saitek panel here with the blue. Well, it's a 182 setup, right? The Saitek, it's got the throttle lever, the prop lever, and the mixture lever. Also, the 182 is a bit more complex, has cylinder head temperature stuff. Also, the cockpit looks a bit more complex. So I thought, well, let's start there. Not because it's simple, but because then I have got the complete system and I can really study. But still, eventually I thought, well, really to prepare myself for 172, I got interested and curious about the 172 of A2A simulations, and so we are currently in the 172, and it looks just great. My own textures, obviously, so the yellow color scheme. Also put some UncertifiedPilot. Oh, let me just remove the iPad so you guys can see better. Some custom graphics in. So again, my Polaroid there of my first flight that my dad made in the back seat while I was flying over here. And some scratches and stuff that makes it more like a second-hand, third-hand Cessna, which I really like. Yeah, so that's the A2A 172 bit. Yeah, and so getting back in shape. So I'm going to stream each and every Tuesday from 7:30 Amsterdam time. So I keep a pace to, well, really develop those flight skills. If I only fly a couple of times randomly per month, that's not enough. So I really like to fly at least once a week, but all my other free time that I have that I can spend on flight sim, I will. So most likely I will stream much more frequent than before. I know I've said this a couple of months ago too, but then, well, the whole moving out stuff, moving to a different apartment, and well, came in between and a lot of work. So trust me, I will get into flying much more frequent, and this, well, that's why I call this particular episode a new beginning. New schedule, new computer, nice green screen, new intro movie. I'm really have a new attitude, a more refreshed attitude towards my flight simulator training. So I'm really excited. I'm hoping you are still with me, following me, guiding me, sharing tips and tricks and experiences of how I can improve my my flying. So I'm really looking forward to my future episodes and all the stuff that I need to learn. First, my V ratings, so on PilotEdge.net. There are 3 V ratings that I would like to pass. The V1 I already passed for. That's just traffic pattern flying, although that was an X-plane. And so I thought, well, it might be cool just to redo the V1, but now unprepared with A2A simulations. Why not? It's basic, or perhaps I hope it's still basic. So that's the idea. And then the V2 and V3 stuff, all on ORBX, or so it's so gonna be so cool, guys. And then the I ratings, and that's going to be the season 2 chapter of this channel. So the season 1 episodes are solely about my PPL, my visual flight rules stuff, the V ratings, and then season 2 will cover my IFR stuff. And those are 11 ratings currently at PilotEdge. I'm still looking forward to the 11 V ratings that PilotEdge had announced to launch well, a year ago or so, but still no news on that front. So in the future there will be actually 11 V ratings rather than just 3, but no schedule or launch date there, but doesn't really matter. This is how I'm going to schedule my channel. So V1 ratings season 1, IFR season 2. Okie doke. Anything else that I need to mention here? Oh yeah, I've got some cool apps, or just not really that much of a special app, but it's interesting. Namely sticky notes. So one thing that I was doing in the couple of previous months while I was not flying was reviewing the stuff that I had posted on YouTube. Just to see, well, what my experiences were, and also just have a general idea of my training to see where I could improve on the training approach itself. And one thing that I noticed was that I was, also with the help of you guys, hey Kimo, welcome back, to get track of all the stuff that I was doing wrong during my flight, the feedback that I received from you guys to improve my flying. And so I was noticing that in the videos while I was flying, I was noticing, hey, I should improve that. Hey, I should improve on that. Hey, I should remember to do that better next time. But I had no kind of way to collect those tips and tricks. So I thought, well, let's just get a very basic sticky note app, something like this, and organize, collect, gather all these stuff that I need to improve on. So I've collected the most common mistakes, stuff that I really like to practice on, in these couple of sticky notes that you see here. Well, there are lots of them, so I needed to stack them all up. I'm hoping that very soon they're just going to be 3 or 4 of them. This is kind of like a wall, not a wall of fame, but a wall of failure or a wall of feedback that I'm going to refer to each and every episode when I begin, just to have a glancing over of what I'm doing. I'm not going to spend too much time on these right now because I need to start from scratch. I'm just planning today to do some, hey Kimo, thank you. Yeah, well, I'm still on the ground. I'm looking forward to getting into the air very soon. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on discussing or reflecting on these sticky notes. I will soon in the next episode, I guess. I'm also not going to do my pre-flight. This is a brand new Cessna 172 just from the hangar, so no spark plugs or other failures are set. I just would like to share with you this very first flight and just enjoy flying, just to see where I'm at on PilotEdge though, and just to scan around, just to fly around the area, just to see how well I'm still able to control this airplane. Game player, how do you start off with your plane? Cold and dark? Yeah, sure. And it's prepared, not FSX. No, so it's a complete cold and dark state right now. The Cessna, which I think is really cool. I like the whole startup procedure. We're currently on the east ramp here on Palm Springs. Yeah, that's not something that I should do. I turned off my iPad. And I should just switch overlays for flight. Boom. There we are. So, yeah. Palm Springs, here we are. So again, I've mentioned this a couple of times, but I will just repeat myself, not to explain it to you guys, but also just to freshen up my own knowledge of well, reading these aviation charts. Palm Springs. So what you can see, a lot of airspace here, and it's actually more confusing than it is, more simple actually than it looks like. It's mostly just this blue dashed circle around Palm Springs, a delta airspace, delta level airspace. And all the other fuzzy airspace areas depict TRSA airspace or Echo airspace, which has nothing mandatory for us to consider. We don't need to talk to any special controllers, although on PilotEdge they govern the Palm Springs airport more like a Charlie airspace. And so we've got a clearance delivery frequency. We receive a squawk code when we enter. But this differs from controller to controller on PilotEdge. Anyway, if you just would like to fly a traffic pattern that accounts for any airport that you would like to fly traffic patterns on PilotEdge, just contact ground. And if you'd like to leave the airspace, in this case, contact clearance delivery, and then you will get a squawk code, and then we move on. So what I would like to do, hey, Whiskey Tuesday, welcome. Mr. Critic, AMS. No, this is flying on PilotEdge, really, not VATSIM. So this is only part of the Southern California area. So what I would like to do is just do a few, let's say 2 or 3 traffic patterns here on Palm Springs, and then leave the traffic area the 4th time or something like that. Something to, well, to the north here of Palm Springs. So, well, I cannot draw on these maps on ForeFlight yet, which I was hoping that they would include in the upgrade. But somewhere around this area here, can you see that? No, you can't. It seems like my iPad is having trouble catching up. And if I just switch, well, it doesn't really matter that much because we're not going to use those aviation charts if we just stay near Palm Springs. But I need to have a look at what the I'm using Airserver here to stream my iPad screen to the stream on my computer, but somehow it seems to find that pretty difficult. Well, doesn't really matter. I will look into that after the stream. Okay, so what I'm going to do, a few traffic patterns, hoping that that will be something that I can manage, and then go to the north of the field and then do some slow flight and that stuff. Okay, though I will keep the iPad here in case I got some instructions or other stuff that I need to write down. Okay, guys, so there we are in the cockpit, cold and dark. Bit scary, I have to admit. So yeah, here we are. We've got the control lock still on. We've got the door open. So I'm not going to do the pre-flight, although I should. But I know I just started this Cessna from the hangar. It's completely fresh, clean. So I know there's nothing wrong with the airplane. So just to save some time, we're just going to skip that. Put on our seatbelts. I still have them on, the real seatbelts on my chair, which I really love. Gives a sense of presence. And what we're first going to do is remove the control wheel lock. So that's good. Let's have a look at whether my yoke is actually connected and whether the ailerons are moving in the right direction. Also the elevator. I've added a new item to my checklist, by the way. Hey, my rudder isn't working. That's interesting. Let me check in the hangar. Do I see any error messages? No. That's weird. Let me check again. I should see them. And I should see my rudder pedals moving in the cockpit, right? Let me see. In the settings here, option settings, controls. No, it isn't connected at all. That's weird. I have checked whether my what we can do then instead, just to circumvent this technicality, is just, hey, thank you for following, Lewis Student Pilot. Thank you. I would just put on auto rudder so I can use my yoke to use mirror, but that's weird. Or should I just, I've got some power connector here. Well, I don't know. Weird. Realism auto rudder on. It's been a long time since I've used that. So does that work then? I don't see any movement there. And I don't see any animation of my rudder. Well, what we can do before we contact PilotEdge, this is a non-movement area on the airfield. And that means that we can actually start up and taxi circles as much as we like without having to contact ground or whatever. There are special lines. I don't know if these yellow lines, but they're over there in the corner. And if you pass those, you're in the movement area, and that's where you need to contact ground. So that's the whole idea. Hey Keith, welcome. Welcome. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited to get started again. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a startup. Let's just roll out slowly and see whether my outer rudder actually works, or whether I need to do something else to get my rudder working, which is a bit weird. That's what I'm going to do. Let me see. So first, cold and dark. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so just the beacon is on. Parking brakes are not set. They are set now. Trim is set. Fuel tank set to both. My throttle is all idle, which is good. Fire extinguisher, let's just pretend that it's in the green. Closed. ELT is auto. Flaps are up, and they're also up here. You also double check, not just the lever, but also the flaps themselves, because they could still be in the down position while the flap lever here is in the up position. And then when you turn on the batteries, suddenly the flaps go down, which can be unfortunate. So yeah, double check that. Then the radios, transponder is off. I guess this is still on. Yeah, that means that it is on. GPS is off, and there's nothing that we can do. No circuit breakers are popped out, so that's good. So we verified that the airplane is actually cold and dark, which is part of the procedure. I have to admit though, guys, I have made myself a new checklist. The Cessna A2A Cessna 172 checklist. I made a 182 a long time ago, but I've updated it with all kinds of new items. And one item that I already mentioned, but I didn't explain to you guys, was something that I didn't include in my previous checks, which is kind of nice, kind of nice check. I saw the pilot do in the real world while I was flying, well, a couple of weeks ago, is when you pull on the elevator, you can see there in the back that the elevator is moving up. Can I just change my... Whoop. Then move the trim. So you can see the trim tab actually moving, and I can see it turning. So I know that my trim tab is actually, my trimming wheel is actually working, which is a cool trick, right? Because, well, it's on the left side there on the back, so you can check. So, well, anyway, I've updated the checklist, and I will post a blog, publish a blog post very soon with a download link for you guys, just for free, just a PDF that you can use yourself to fly A2A simulations. Is 172, which is good. Hey, just Alex. How can I ask a question other than Twitch? Well, currently I'm just streaming on Twitch, but I love YouTube as well. So all my Twitch videos are exported to YouTube. I haven't been considering going to YouTube Live though, because YouTube offers some great features as well. But I've put a poll on my Twitter, and most of you guys, well, urged me to stick to Twitch. So perhaps in the future I will go to to YouTube. And if you have a question, you can just put it in the chat, and I will have a look at it regularly while I'm flying, and I can just answer it. Or we've got a great community here of other fellow pilots that are on the chat and here viewing this channel as well, so they can help you out too. So don't be shy, just chat, post your questions, and they will be answered. Lewis, are you a pilot? No, I'm not a pilot. I'm only a virtual pilot, an uncertified pilot. So I'm using flight simulation to get as close to a real-world instrument rating as I possibly can. So I'm just in the beginning, so I have a long time to go, much to learn still. But it's really a serious training kind of approach here on the channel. So I'm not a kind of autopilot kind of guy, and allowing the airplane to fly itself. I really like to, show my vulnerability as a student pilot here on the channel, and really seriously try to master the art of flying, and also talking with ATC and that kind of stuff. So that's what the channel is all about. Anyway, I've got a checklist. I should actually follow it because I have no idea anymore what I should actually do during this pre-flight or during this cold and dark check. But I know I did the right circle here. So I started here, from then the seats, then here the door, and then all the way around here, the stack, and then back. And these flows are quite useful actually, because I remember the flow. It's kind of like a circle. That's the cold and dark flow. And so I don't need to memorize each item. I can just follow the flow. And then obviously I come across all the different items that I need to check. And the same goes for the pre-flight. I'm not going to skip, and also for the startup. So what we're going to do now, I'm not going to test whether the electrical systems are working. We just go skip immediately to the engine start. So batteries on. There we go. Then, fuel tanks are set to both. Let's just put in the throttle a bit, and let's prime the engine. There goes the fuel pump. Mixture full in. 1, 2, 3. You can see there was a small rise in the fuel flow because fuel is getting pumped into the engine. Hey, Chase Davison, welcome aboard. So the engine is now primed, so we can start up. Parking brakes are set, and the alternator or generator doesn't need to be on right now because the engine isn't running, so there's no electrical power that can be generated anyway. Is the prop area clear? It is. No people flow by ORBX, no. So clear prop. And there it goes. Full mixture. Magnetos back to both. 1200 RPM. Let's put the headphones on, the virtual headphones. You can see a volt reading here. That's because we didn't turn the alternator on or generator on. So click, there it goes. So now you can see that the amp meter is showing that there's a charge, a positive charge. So the battery is charging, which is good. Now we need to lean the engine a bit for ground operations. Well, that's why we set it to 1200 RPM. So I'm keeping on the lean, watching to see a dip in the RPM. There it goes. Now I'm putting a little bit more rich mixture there in. So now we're on rich peak, you could say rich of peak. And that gives us the best performance of the engine, preventing the fouling of our spark plugs. And now we can go back to 1000 RPM. On 1000 RPM we can also do the same trick, but then the effect of the mixture leaning is not that visible. So that's why you go to a higher RPM, but not too high because the engine is not warm enough and you might damage the airplane, blah, 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 blah. So that's the engine. Now we can turn on the avionics. We set the transponder on to altitude mode, so the PilotEdge controllers can see us. 1200 is our squawk code, so that's good. In previous episodes, I switched from the on mode to mode C to altitude mode.
R153 Romeo Mike.
That's
PilotEdge. Ground.
Many times. But I've learned actually through the PilotEdge forums that you should always remain on mode C. It's a new regulation by the FAA. I didn't know about that, so always in the altitude mode, which makes sense. Why not?
Legacy 3 Romeo Mike, Roger.
Okay.
Depart toward the 91605 interchange.
Currently, this is the tower frequency of Palm Springs.
Departure frequency 128.1.
121.9 is ground.
6260.
Engine is still a little bit cold. Your oil temperature is not in the green yet.
Intersection and low 2500.
Let me just switch a frequency so we're... I mean, that's something that Nextplane that you can do quite easily. Just switch the COM radio, so just turn the COM 1 off. But here on Prepared, I don't seem to get that working. So the only way for me to turn off the volume there, the sound volume of the PilotEdge controllers of the COM radio, is just by switching in a different frequency. But perhaps you guys know better. I've been messing around with these knobs and buttons, but I couldn't... I wasn't able to turn off the COM frequency, so please let me know if someone has an idea, either when you're on YouTube now watching or on Twitch. Anyway, so then engine is getting warm, still 1000 RPM, transponder we set to altitude mode and 1200. Frequencies, well, first off is the ADIS that we're going to listen to, 118.25 already set.
Palm Springs Airport information, Victor. 1914.
Victor.
Wind calm.
Wind calm.
Visibility greater than 20 miles.
That's perfect
Sky
weather.
conditions clear. Temperature 2.5. Altimeter 2984.
2984.
Runway 31 right and visual. Runway 31 left in use. Landing and departing. Runway 31 right and
You have
runway
Victor.
31 left.
Give me a vector,
aircraft
Victor.
today direction of flight. All aircraft read back, hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Victor.
Victor. Okay, so we've got Victor. Really, that information, whether ADIS code, doesn't mean a thing here on PilotEdge because we all fly in our own weather. PilotEdge is working, if I'm correct, on integrating their own ADIS frequency into flight sim, so we all can refer to a ADIS code like Victor, and the controller knows that we've got the current weather. Also an upgrade that I'm really looking forward to, making the PilotEdge network a bit more realistic and useful, practical. But I'm just going to mention Vector and the PilotEdge controllers know, because it's just part of the routine, and well, I like to practice that, right? So we listen to ADIS. Well, it's great weather, always great weather here on Palm Springs. That's also why it's my favorite airport. Okie doke, so that's what we did. Then we set the altimeter. The compass here is aligned. The heading bar we can set on 3.1. 3.1 is over here. We've got a right and a left one. The right one is a general aviation, smaller one-way that we're going to use. And the engine is now in the green. We've got enough fuel. Should have already been checked, but I forgot. Yeah, so well, we're all set to get going, I guess. Switching to ground again. GPS we don't need. Okay, so let's ask the ground controller, because we're staying in the traffic pattern, to do some close traffic flying. And let's see how that goes. Well, it's been such a long time to contact the PilotEdge controllers. I mean, that's so cool that PilotEdge really, to me, it really brings flight simulation alive. This makes flying real, because you're really talking to actual flight controllers, traffic controllers that are governing the virtual airspace here of Southern California. It's so cool. Okay, 121.9, and tower was on 70. Okay. What I'm gonna say. So first, who am I talking to? Palm Springs ground. Skyhawk, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike. On the east ramp with information Victor. For close traffic. That's it. Palm Springs ground, good day. Skyhawk, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike on the east ramp with information Victor for close traffic.
PHTIM, Palm Springs ground, you're on east ramp?
Yep, that's correct, east ramp.
PHTIM, roger, runway 31 right, taxi via Bravo.
31 right via Bravo for Papa Hotel Tango Mike, thanks. Cool. So it's a really short run. The runway is already over there.
With numbers.
Engine is warm. Parking brakes released. Now let's see. Oh, I shouldn't have asked for.
Kilo Bravo Kilo
Outer rudder works.
41 Papa correction. Runway 20 right.
Cool.
Full length. Taxi via
Okay,
Bravo.
so no rudder pedals today.
Full length 41 Papa.
I don't know why my rudder pedals aren't working, but let's just use auto rudder. Although that kind of prevents me from doing proper slow flight practice, because then you need to use your rudder quite aggressively. So perhaps we're going to skip that to the next episode and let me fix why my rudder pedals aren't working. I have no idea. Perhaps the USB plug has been... well, I checked everything, but anyway. Something that I forgot was my brake test, which I should have done right before or after I released the parking brakes. Check whether the brakes are actually working. And obviously they are not. Why? Because my rudder pedals aren't working. So I should actually set my brakes. I removed most settings here on my...
350 contact tower 120.5.
We're still in the non-movement area. This is where you can see the yellow line over here, so it doesn't really matter what we do here. So just roll
San
out
Francisco Tower, American 350, LS 28 left.
and go to my settings page.
American 350 San Francisco Tower 10804, runway 28 left, clear line.
Yoke.
Clear to land 28 left, American 350.
Brakes. No, not brails.
Long Beach ground.
Brakes.
Legacy 135 Romeo Mike. East ramp, taxi with Romeo.
That sounds like a Dutch guy.
Is 153 Romeo Mike,
Brakes.
Long Beach ground, runway 25 right, taxi via Kilo.
Let me see if that works. High
25
menu
right,
bar.
Kilo. Legacy 3 Romeo Mike.
German Tower 52, Charlie Midfield 20.
There we go. And
Airport
brakes.
Charlie, runway 20 left, clip the op.
Yeah, brakes are working.
The option
Just with the
20 left,
period
taxi, Charlie.
keyboard button.
Air 41 Papa, squawk altitude.
Okay. So what I'm now going to do is just turn a little bit to the
Altitude
left.
4 Papa.
Air 41 Papa, take
To
a
do
look
a
at the
power
airport
check.
diagram. You'll notice the note says as DX is in use, operate transponder and Charlie at all times on active taxiways and runway.
Mode C at all times.
Roger, my apologies, 4-1 Papa.
Okay, there we are. So now, parking brakes. Engine is in the green, so we can do our power check, our run up. So, mixture full. Let's go to 1800 RPM. I love the sound of the Cessna 172. It's so realistic, more realistic than the 182 actually, to me at least. So there we are. Everything seems stable, oil pressure, no readings, which is good. So left mag looks good, and the right one looks good as well, as expected. Just came out of the hangar as new. Then landing lights to see if we've got a dip and a charge. That's correct.
0 right at Lima.
Then full idle to see if the engine doesn't
Every
quit on
3141
us.
Papa, Jumping Tower, runway 2.
Still oil pressure.
0 right.
No readings
Line of
here.
await, traffic, a Cicada
Cool.
TB20
Power check
on
completed.
short final 20 left.
One more time.
Hold
Flight
short,
controls
0 right, 4-1 Papa.
work, and the elevator
Trinidad
works, and the
5
rudder.
Charlie, traffic,
We
epic
don't
jet,
have any animation on the rudder,
holding in
okay,
position runway 20 right.
but it works. We checked. Landing lights
Yeah, we haven't
on,
passed
strobe
the
lights on. We switch to tower. Parking brakes released. My gosh, gonna fly. A little bit scary, I have to admit. So 3-1 right here at Bravo. I'm still using my rudder pedals, which I just should remove my feet from them. Okay, and we stand still. No one in the pattern here. I haven't heard anyone on the radio calling in for Palm Springs. Parking brake set. Again, set to 1000, something like that, to keep the engine warm. Mixture is full. We are set.
American 350 have vacated Echo.
Let's announce.
American 350 taxi parking via Echo Alpha, monitor ground. Have a good day.
Echo Alpha monitor around American 350, thank you.
Palm Springs Tower, Sky Papa Hotel Tango, and your mic is holding short 3-1 right at Bravo, ready for departure, close traffic.
PHTIM, Palm Springs Tower, good afternoon. Runway 31 left, clear, correction, runway 31 right. Clear for takeoff, right close traffic approved, report midfield downwind each time, wind calm.
Clear for takeoff, 3-1 right, right hand, and we'll report midpoint each time. Papa Hotel Tango mic.
Happy 41 Papa. That traffic's now on the upwind,
Okay,
turning
there we
crossing,
go.
runway 20 right.
Check for
Clear
ourselves, no
for
one
takeoff.
in the pattern, no one on the
Clear for
runway.
takeoff, 20 right, traffic in the left
Nope.
pattern, 4-1 Papa.
Using my yoke. This is so weird. Using my yoke for
Airport 521, contact
Rudder,
Marine Tower,
ruddering.
118.3, squawk via far seat.
Okay, compass aligns 3-1, so that makes sense. Here we go. Ooh. And this is where you actually need the option to use your rudder pedals independently of your yoke.
Generally, Charlie will be looking for the epic.
60, rotate. There we are, guys. Lift off. Allowing that airspeed to increase to about 75, so I'm trimming nose down right now.
20 left, clip the option at traffic's
should have closed my window.
Yeah, we got the traffic. Good for the option back to Charlie.
Santa Maria ourselves now for 8 back at
Look at this scenery, guys, and we've got a high frame rates. It's so nice. Look at this mountain.
Cessna 4521 Santa Maria Tower, 5 miles where?
1,000 feet. Let's start our crosswind turn. No one in the pattern there. Shallow turn.
Of course, you're 5 miles from the airport. 5 miles in which direction?
Northwest.
So that's 5-1. Roger. Enter right now on runway 30.
A little bit more steep.
Report midfield.
And we go to 1,500 feet. 1,000 feet AGL.
Epic 4 Pop contact departure.
Departure, good day.
Now we can level off a bit and allow the airspeed to increase. So I'm pushing on that yoke.
Tower, Legacy 153, Romeo Mike, ready at 25 right.
Airspeed increases. Okay, let's decrease the RPM.
Mike, Long Beach Tower, runway 25 right, cleared for
and let's
takeoff.
make our downwind turn.
1808.
Keep that nose high up.
Over the winds, clear takeoff, 25 right.
So we
Legacy
stay on
3, Romeo Mike.
altitude. About 90 knots would be good. Still, so far, so good, guys. Not too bad. A little bit more power. Could have been a little bit more steep here. Standard rate turn rather than this shallow turn. So the heading bug in the back. There's downwind, confirmed with the runway. 90 knots. Man, it's so fluent, so smooth. It's incredible. Never mind me. Okay, so now we need to actually, we're quite on midpoint, almost at midpoint here. Midpoint of our downwind leg. So here I'm gonna put 1 notch of flaps in. Already push on that yoke because the airplane wants to get up. Palm Springs Tower, Sky Hotel Tango, and your mic is midpoint downwind.
PHIM, Roger, runway 31 right, clear for the option.
Clear for the option, 31 right for Papa Hotel Tango, your mic. So what he's saying is you've got the option. You've got the option to do whatever. We can do a full stop, we can do a touch and go, we can do a stop and go, we can do a low approach. Getting a little bit too slow, by the way. So that's good, and it's quite usual. Still, I'm a bit too slow. I should descend a little bit more right now, already at the end of the downwind leg. Quite far away of the airport, so it's not really a very, very nice traffic pattern. Could be more sharp and tight. Let's make that turn to the right here. And allow that nose to fall down. A little bit nose up trim, because I'm really pulling on that yoke. There we go. A little bit more steep of a turn. It should just be a standard rate turn, something like this. So I'm too careful. So there's the heading bug to the right, so straighten out, and second notch of flaps. There's the runway. You've got 4 wides, as you can see. Oh, watch that airspeed, or rather, put that nose down. Trim down a bit. Give me a red light. Come on. Okay, let's make that turn. No need to report that we're on final or on base because the tower already cleared us to do whatever. A little bit more power here. I mean, this is again why I love TrackIR. It's so much easier if you can just freely look around, especially during traffic pattern flying. So here we are. All right.
German tower, 52 Charlie midfield, and 20 left.
Oh, we've got 3 reds, but actually
52 Charlie, runway 20 left, clear for the option.
it feels like I'm too high up.
20 left, 52
The glide slope of this 3-1 right runway is actually kind of steep to me, really. So I think this is fine. Alright, so allowing the airspeed to bleed off to about 55 knots for touchdown. Not going full flaps.
Just 921, runway 30, clear for the
Let's see what happens, guys. If I can still do this. So far so good. There goes the airspeed, still a bit too fast. Okay, now looking at the far end of the runway. That's my aiming point. Oh, that's a bubble. Again. Throttle out, throttle out, throttle out, throttle out. Not too bad. Flaps up. And full power. Again, don't need to use my rudder here. Whoop, and there we go. Once more, allow that airspeed to increase about 75 and then use my pitch to regulate the airspeed. So now pitching up, pitching up, pitching up to prevent that airspeed to increase. There we are. Cool. Not too bad. And this is so cool. I miss flying with you guys. And this is just the basic traffic pattern stuff. Kid in the cockpit is really interesting. Okay, thank you, Chase. We'll have a look at that. There we are at 1,000. So, what I should improve on is making a little bit more aggressive turns, not while I'm climbing. So that's a 15-degree climb.
2016 is looking for VFR to John Lane, VFR advisors.
There we are, 1,300 feet. Keep that climb in. There's the heading bug and our altitude.
November 016, Palomar clearance.
Pushing on the yoke, still keeping full throttle to increase that airspeed.
407, Bravo 407.
There we are. Thank you for the follow. Worst.
Helicopter 2016, departure
More aggressive turn. Standard rate turn, Tim. Come on. Come on. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Keeping nicely on altitude. Where's the heading bug?
Departure frequency 119.7 and confirm squawk 270.
There we are.
Negative,
And
7271,
straight level flight.
7271.
Push down on the yoke.
Okay, frequency 119.6
A little bit less power.
and squawk 7271. Helicopter 206.
Helicopter 206, Rebecca. Correction, helicopter 2016, Rebecca.
Along base tower.
Okay.
Legacy 153 Romeo Mike.
One Archer flaps again.
Remain this frequency.
I mean, it's really procedural stuff.
Legacy 153 Romeo Mike, negative contact departure.
Okay,
Flight
there's
Legacy
the airport.
3 Romeo Mike.
Awesome. Now let's report that we're midfield. Palm Springs Tower, Sky Hotel Tango, and Mike is midfield 3-1 right.
Legacy 153 Romeo Mike, SoCal departure, radar contact. HCIM runway 31 right, clip the option.
Clear for the option 3-1 right for Papa Hotel Tango, and Mike.
Epic 41 Papa, I assume you want the ILS approach.
Okay, speed is getting too low again. I should actually now already start my descent. And I'm also a little bit turning a little bit too much to the left here. So the heading bug wasn't really at the bottom. So that's why I'm flying away from the pattern.
Join tower, 52 Charlie midfield of 20 left.
Alright, 52 Charlie, runway 20 left, clip the option.
Clear for the option 20 left, 52 Charlie.
Okay, let's make the turn already. Going to base.
Epic 41 Papa.
Keeping
turn
the
left,
nose
heading
down,
290.
Tim. Come on. Also read about flying much more on RPMs. So increases in RPM and decreases in RPM are not that healthy for the engine. And it also, well, I guess it's kind of like a symptom of not being a really good pilot, I guess. If you need to do that, change the throttle constantly. So just stick your throttle to about 1500 RPM. It's a Cessna Skyhawk kind of setting. And just use your pitch and decision making to get that base and final flying going right. Still too high up, 4 wides. Hey Felix, good evening. Welcome aboard. Okay, too high, too high, too high. Would love to do some crabbing right now. Watch that airspeed. Watch that airspeed. I'm overshooting it. Alright. Again, it wasn't the standard rate turn that I made. Here we go. Put a little bit more power in. There we are.
Legacy 153 Romeo
Not
Mike.
too much
SoCal
power.
approach, Ontario altimeter 29901.
Okay, I'm just going to do one more lap, guys, and call it a day.
Snake, fly heading 210,
I'm not going to do my practice flights. Need to fix that rudder pedal before I do. Okay, so again, far end of the runway. Throttle back. No bubbles. Good, long, far end of the runway. Get that dashboard glare shield. It's a bit too harsh, but not bad. Full power. There we go. 60, rotates. There she goes. Again, not pitching up too high, too early, just allowing the airspeed to increase to 75, and then we pitch up.
Oh, John Wayne Tower. I made a big mistake.
I made a
Forgot
big
to
mistake.
put the gear down.
You're 5 to Charlie, Roger. What are your intentions?
We're gonna
What are your
get out of
intentions?
it and come back in. We're gonna try another airplane. 5.
You're 5 to Charlie, Roger.
A guy forgot to put his gear down.
On the ground, helicopter 2016 with
Awesome.
you at the transient
Okay,
parking. Looking for a
1,000, let's go again. Shallow, 15-degree turn.
Look up 2016.
Keeping that airspeed around 75, or a bit too fast, so pitching up.
Runway 24, hover taxi via Alpha, helicopter 2016.
Still clear.
Romeo Mike, traffic 11 o'clock, 3 miles southbound onto the
Too much high up.
type of known.
There comes 1500.
Santa Maria Tower, Cessna 48.
Pushing down on the yoke.
Romeo Mike, say again.
Runway 20, full stop.
Victory Romeo Mike, thank you. Contact Riverside Tower 121.1, squawk VFR.
Okay, making that turn again. Nose up a bit.
Alright, 45821. If you hear me talking to another aircraft and it's something that requires a response, don't just jump right in. You stepped all over the other guy. I could not hear you say again.
4851 at right downwind runway.
He should buy a new microphone.
Requesting full stop.
Alright, 521 Roger. Runway 30.
Okay, 1500 feet, Tim, not 1600.
20
And get that heading bug at the bottom. Speed is
Riverside
okay.
Tower, Legacy 153 Romeo Mike, T-Towers,
Come on,
2300,
descend.
about to land.
Legacy 153 Romeo Mike.
Okay.
Riverside Tower, enter left downwind runway 27. Clear to land, wind bear.
No, there's not much wind at all, Felix. You're right. It's wind's
Left
calm,
downwind,
so it's
runway
great.
27 clear land to Legacy 3 Romeo Mike.
Alright, so midfield. Palm Springs Tower, Sky Papa Del Tango Mike is midfield 3-1 right for a full stop this time.
PHTM, runway 31 right, clear for the option.
Clear for the option, 3-1 right for Papa Del Tango Mike. So, irrespective of whether I'm mentioning that I'm going to go for a full stop, he still gives me a cleared for the option, which is okay, but I just would like him to know that I'm going to make a full stop. Whoa. Come on, concentrate. A little bit Nose down trim. I'm going up. I should go down. And again, my airspeed is kind of low, which is because all of this wobbling. Let's make that turn to base. Keep that nose down this time, Tim. Regulate your speed with pitch, not with power. Down, not up.
Palmer Tower, good morning. Helicopter
4 wides.
2016 will be holding short of runway
Down.
24, ready for departure VFR.
Man,
Helicopter 016, Palomar Tower, departure.
Where's the heading bug? There's the heading bug.
Clear for takeoff and 25010.
80. Not a
Into
notch of
winds and
flaps.
Takeoff straight to the shoreline 2016.
Okay.
41 Papa contact, John Wayne Tower 126.8.
4 whites. Good speed. Let's make that turn right away, not overshoot it.
Papa contact, John Wayne Tower 126.8.
Oh. More power, more power, more power, because I'm already at 2 whites, 2 reds.
John Wayne Tower, Epic 3141
Not
Papa.
too fast.
On 6 mile approach.
Shallow
Final.
turn from base to final.
Epic 314 Papa, John Wayne Tower, runway 20 right, could land.
There we go.
20 right, 4 Papa.
Again, align ourselves with the runway. I mean, it's so obvious now when you use auto rudder what the benefits are of using a rudder pedal, really, independently from your yoke. You have so much more control. I'm hoping it's just a USB plug that is unplugged on my computer and there's not something broken with my rudder pedals. Okay, a little bit more nose up trim. There goes the airspeed. Okay, as slow as possible. I actually would like to hear the stall horn. Here we go. Throttle back. Glare sheet to the edge of the far end of the runway. There we go, there we go, there we go. Come on, stall to me, stall. Wow, not bad. Brakes with the period key. Feel like I'm flying Flight Sim 2000. Alright. Not using the rudder pedals. Such a habit. Okay, here we go. And we are at Foxtrot. Right. Always good to mention that to the control tower. There we are. Our seats, or actually our entire tail, should be behind this line.
2016 reporting shoreline.
There we are. Again.
Helicopter 016 contact departure.
Period.
Okay.
Okay.
Departure. Thank you. 2016.
Parker and brake set. Set our engine to 1000 RPM to keep it warm. And let's open a window. Alright. Palm Springs Tower, Skyhawk, Papa Tel Tango, and Mike is clear runway 31 right at Foxtrot, ready to taxi to the east ramp.
Helicopter 2016, Cal departure, radar contact.
Thank you, Felix. Yeah, you're right.
PHTIM, taxi east ramp via Echo, and you can remain this frequency. Have a good day. See ya.
Via Echo to the ramp and will remain this frequency. Have a good day as well, Papa Tel Tango, Mike. Okay, so.
Who's that tower? Legacy 153 Romeo Mike vacated at
13 Romeo Mike.
Legacy 153 Romeo Mike, taxi parking
Yoke.
Alpha. Have a good day.
Takes the parking by Alpha.
Okay.
Thank you, November.
There we go.
Legacy 153 Romeo.
Alright, now I should actually lean for ground operations. I should have done that before I started taxiing. There we are, something like that. So no 1200 RPM check like we did at the pre-flight or before taxi. Something like this is fine. And landing light should be off and strobe light should be off. It's a little bit too hasty. I should do my checks before I start my taxi to parking. Now if you stay about 900 RPM or so, at least with the Skylane, you should remain in a constant speed. Rather than just going, again, fluctuating with your RPM too much. It's that's not nice. Not good for the engine.
Santa Maria Tower.
Yeah, Kadam, thank you. That's you're right. I should manage the power a little bit more subtly before landing.
Our 48521, No need for that. Where you want to park?
Say again. 4851.
Man, this was cool. Man, I really feel it.
48521.
Wow.
You can remain this frequency. Where would you like to park?
H3 4851.
48521, taxi to parking via straight ahead on Echo to hotel.
Taxi via Echo 4851.
Okay, back to the ramp.
John
I
Wayne
love
Tower, Epic 3141,
love how
pop out on the
ORBX
ground, wind potential
crowds
to
these
the
ramps.
west
Epic 41 Papa taxi parking via Echo Bravo. Pass for the. Actually, did you just make a U-turn on the runway there?
Then you're not
No,
past.
sir, honestly, 41 Papa.
Here are the moving area lines, as you can see.
Well, I wouldn't fail you for it, but that'd be your one gimme. But that's a pass for the I-1. But don't make a U-turn on the runway and reverse your taxi there to get to the taxiway. Just continue down to the next one.
Roger, my apologies. I thought I was actually at the last one, that's why I did a U-turn there, but thank you very much for the pass.
Excuses.
41 Papa.
The guy made a U-turn. So I mean look at this, how ORBX just generates this people flow. I mean, it really, again, makes me feel like the airport is actually alive. There are actually people here. Hey guys, Uncertified Pilot is back. Hopefully see you a lot of times here on the airport. There are also some bathing, people who are bathing over there to the left, reading a newspaper. Where are we going to park? Let's just make a turn here to the right. Now here on the non-movement area, which is a silly name really, it's actually a movement area because we can move without bothering with the controller. But these names are made up by the controllers themselves. So there's an area, a non-movement area that they don't need to be concerned with. So we can do whatever we'd like to do here. Make circles, taxi to a different parking spot, or fueling, or... Okay, period key. Let's just park it nicely over here. No, not really straight, but well, that's good enough. Parking brakes are set, then transponder set to off. We go off of the radar of PilotEdge. Avionics off before we shut down the engine to prevent any electrical power surges through the electrical equipment that might be damaging, which A2A simulations actually simulates. And then we pull the plug. There it goes. Then the magnetos, so all the left fuel is burned, sparked in the cylinders, rather than doing that in the reverse. The alternator off and batteries off, and there we are. Yoke locked, virtual headphones off. Let's open the door and let's disable TrackIR. Guys, man, that was cool. It was basic, and I know I told you guys to do some practice flights as well here in the Palm Springs area, but unfortunately my rudder pedals are not working, so I need to look into that. What's going on? I'm hoping it's just a USB plug that is unplugged, but we're gonna have a look. So far, just a brief review. So I made my turns to shallow. That was something that I noticed. Well, my Airserver stream stuff isn't working that well, so I'm just going to those to that app with the sticky notes that I showed at the beginning of this stream. More aggressive turns. Add a sticky note. Content note here. Okay. Make more aggressive, which actually means standard rate turn. Standard rate turns during traffic patterns. Okay, save. Boom, there it is. Yeah, so I made them too shallow. It could be much more tight, a traffic pattern. So that's something that I can improve on next time. Obviously, thank you for following, Fazakas. Thank you. Welcome aboard. And obviously, a lot of checks. Thank you, guys. Thank you for following. Sen, welcome. I should have used the checklist much more closely because there are a lot of items here, and I think I did pretty well. But there might be some other items too that I should check. And next time we'll have more time to do the pre-flight stuff. So then I will stick to the checklist as well. Go through each item just to freshen up my memory of what I need to do. So that's going to be fun. I will post a blog with a download link for the A2A Cessna 172 checklist. Updated, it's more elaborate,
5 miles southeast of the
more correct than the A2A Cessna 182 checklist that I made a long time ago. So if you're interested,
not coming up. Stand by.
Have a look at my Twitch channel, my Twitter channel. I mean Twitter. So UncertifiedPilot at Twitter, and I will tweet there or go to UncertifiedPilot.com, my blog, and have a close look at any new blog posts. Alrighty. So guys, that was my very first stream in a long while. I hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed it. Very exciting. Still, I also feel there's much room to improve and to freshen up my flight skills. So that's something that we're going to do next time. Guys, thank you so much. Blue skies, happy flights, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Welcome to the Uncertified Pilot. I'm Tim, and this is my flight simulator.
Charlie Tango India, Mike, exit right, taxi back into the round, Echo, remain on this frequency, have a great day.
I got 2016 SoCal approach, channel altimeter